It's May 31st, 2015, and we want to know what happens when Lex Luthor and Stalin stop being polite and start being real.
Are Booster Gold and Booster Gold brushing up on their surfer lingo to star in Vanishing Point Break?
All this and more is coming up. It's Convergence Week 8 here at DCR.
We rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Look! Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's Distress Citizens Radio.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the last final episode of our Convergence coverage here at DCR. I am Sean Lamont, your comic book reader extraordinaire, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host in crime, Mr. Brian Glein. Hello, sir.
Hey there.
How's it going today?
It's going all right.
Are you done with Convergence? Do you need more?
Technically, I am done with Convergence.
I can give you more converging. We
Really?
can converge more things for
Okay.
you. I'm just going to actually start taking books and just ripping pages out of them and gluing them in.
Okay.
And then it'll be like a convergence melding.
You just throw some zip tone filters on the cover and look, it's a
Exactly.
Convergence book.
It's a Convergence book. Enjoy it. Well, you may actually have to deal with more convergence in the future once we get to that book, because major ramifications that kind of lead into other possibilities,
Yes.
I guess we'll say, and we'll leave it at that. But before we go down that path, so you guys know, there are spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about all the things that happened in the books, plot beats, storylines, character development, etc., etc. So if you do not want these books spoiled, and since it is the last week, the last final week, the last chapter, you may not want to jump in at this point as well. So you may want to go back a little bit. But if you do not want any of these books spoiled, do not listen ahead to this particular episode.
All right, and I'm back.
There we are. We do have a couple questions, though. I pushed
Okay.
them off. Pushed him off a little bit. The first one is actually an amalgamation. It was literally sent to us like 20 times, so I'm just going to say thank you, everyone, because if we sat here and listed off names, it would be like reading a phone book. And
It's a shame they weren't able to use the Amalgam Universe characters and all this.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Access. Bring back Access, everybody. Everyone totally misses Access.
Our first question, what are your top 3 picks of the Convergence tie-ins? We basically got like 19 different variations of that question.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So here's your chance to make your opinion known, Brian.
All right. Well, if you weren't listening to any of the other episodes, you know that my top 3 are probably going to be Shazam, Supergirl, Matrix, as the obvious ones, yeah. And after doing some thinking about it, I believe it's going to be The Flash.
Really?
They just look gorgeous, and I liked how the story played out.
Fair enough. We haven't even gotten to the end of that one yet. I think that's this week, isn't it?
No, that's last week.
Okay. I'm sorry. The converging is
Yes,
just
I know. The
messing with
converging
my
is doing so
mind.
much. Runner-ups to Superman and Blue Beetle, of all things.
Oh, I know. That one was the one that was this week that you
Yeah.
were trying to mull between. Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha. I was like, why was I thinking it was this week and he was going to go before we even finished it? Mine, because I was going to do that.
So is Shazam, technically.
Fair enough. JSA, I was surprised and shocked. I actually really enjoyed the way they handled it with I'm a sucker for old guy redemption stories, getting that one last ride out into their youth. And that's what I got from it, so I was very happy with it. Titans, the adventures of Arsenal shooting everyone in the face. He got his daughter back, happy endings, everything was grand and happy. It was just a fun little book for me. I got to see him probably in the best light in that era he would ever be painted
Yes!
in.
That's rich. Let's please fix that.
And the third one...
I completely forgot about Adam. Okay, continue.
the third one, oh yeah, Adam.
Forgot about Adam. It was the
Man.
first week I forgot about it.
Man.
That was another madcap romp.
It started off as like a joke because we were having so much fun with it, but in hindsight, Hawkman is going to get my nod because it actually made me give a crap about the character, which was not an easy task whatsoever. So 3 cheers for Hawkman, just because it was able to pull it off.
And, of course, don't forget about those Manhawks.
No.
The trolls of the DC Intergalactic Universe.
That always helps. Next question comes into us from Simon Travas. Travoss. So it's one of those two, I'm assuming.
Send in pronunciation keys, everybody.
Since Brainiac was promoted to a multiversal threat through Futures End and Convergence, what other villains would you like to see promoted to the center stage?
You know, I was thinking I really want like one of those do nothing, unexpected, kind of like also ran jokey villains to accidentally become like a multiversal threat. I think that'd be fun because I was originally thinking, oh, the orb, but I remember that was a Marvel thing that happened earlier in the year during the original Sin. They kind of elevated the orb, and I thought that was hilarious.
Okay. I actually didn't read that, so.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's not that much of a spoiler because it doesn't it doesn't play into the rest of the stuff. That's all. Maybe take some weird random character like Sally Sonic, who I'm not sure if you can really continue her story after the Bulleteer.
Oh,
miniseries.
That one. Yes.
But yeah, she was such a tragic character, and seeing like her like accidentally wind up with terrible powers would be an interesting story, I think.
But a multiversal threat? I think she's kind of a smaller story character.
Well, she's a smaller story, but again, someone who's really messed up getting way too much power.
Powers.
I think there's a story there.
Okay,
You know.
okay, fair enough.
And of course, I was sprung on this question was just sprung on me. So.
Yes, oops, sorry, my bad. Mine was actually Professor Zoom. I think him doing.
I think he's already getting there, but yeah.
Yeah, I think him doing his time travel wonkety doos, and especially with the post convergence stuff, and if he is able to,
and his newfound TV stardom.
Exactly. I honestly think he could actually be elevated. Maybe not him by himself, but he could amass the power base to be a multiversal threat with his scrubbing bubbles of evil just sweeping across the multiverse. Very quickly, though. Very, very quickly. You just blink and gone. It's very annoying. But that would be my choice. Those are the main two questions that we had. We do have one or two that are going to be sprinkled throughout the show as well that I want to wait until we finish Convergence, the main book, before we get to it. Obviously, the first big question is, what the hell happened at the end of Convergence? So we'll get to that.
We're going to try.
We are going to give it a shot. So let's leave all this jigger jabber behind and jump into this week's books.
All right, so I got the honor of recapping Convergence number 8.
This is a quick one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
I mean, easy peasy.
It's going to be one of those Brian two-sentence specials.
Things happen, and
people
now
did stuff.
Here.
Actually, that's the Kelly special. Things happen, people do stuff. When last we left our heroes of every single time period and world of the DC multiverse, Parallax Hal Jordan, from back when he went crazy and destroyed a city before Jeff Johns did all the retconning. He has killed Deimos and is pretty much doomed the entire multiverse because, as Dr. Fate helpfully kind of floats in and explains to us, as he always does, him and Dr. Strange, they come in with their... They come in with their... Oh, who's the guy from Venture Brothers? They come in with their...
Oh, their neighbor or the guy that lives with them?
Dr. Orpheus or something.
Yes, there you go.
Let me tell you what the spirits of tomorrow... Yeah, so he comes in and explains that with no one to harness the chronal energy of the time travelers that Deimos stole them from, he's basically going to explode everything.
Oops. Way to go, Parallax.
Yeah.
Wasn't happy with just the city. Now he's got to destroy the multiverse.
Yep. And then Tello shows up and says, "Parallax, you get in the corner now."
Oh.
Bad Parallax. And then he even flat out says, "Real heroes are on the way," just to further shame Parallax. And who are those real heroes? But it is Wave Rider, classic DC time-traveling character Wave Rider. He shows up like an exploding threadless t-shirt design. Just bright colors everywhere, with Booster Gold and his sister Gold Star, or his alternate dimension sister Gold Star in tow.
There you go.
He goes, "I have a plan. Galactiac, I choose you!" And he Pokeballs out the giant Brainiac, just as we predicted he would eventually.
Yep.
So everyone is ready to fight, but Brainiac has had one of his characteristic changes of heart.
Aww.
You see, when New 52 Brainiac, the Collector, headed out into the multiverse after Doomed, he saw everything.
Ooh.
Other worlds, other Brainiacs, himself, the people of Earth 33 reading about him, Dr. Shave Veritas reading the multiversity map.
A crisis is coming.
Because, of course, if anyone's going to have the multiversity map before anyone else, it was Dr. Shave Veritas.
I do like that she was wormed into this, though.
Yeah.
We haven't seen you in a while.
We got to see all of those characters. It was great.
Yeah, I know.
And so he tried to evolve like the monitors had. He saw them throughout the time stream, but he got lost when Superboy Prime punched the multiverse and was lost when Mr. Mind turned into a chronal moth and tried to eat the multiverse. So he bounced off every single major event in DC history.
Brainiac is the pinball of the DCU.
Yes, exactly. He does kind of look like he's made out of pinballs, doesn't he?
Multi-ball. 3 of them at once.
Yeah. I lost my place. Uh-oh. Good Lord.
You don't have much notes for this, though. I mean, it's easy.
Mm-hmm. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. So he is now like the living embodiment of the entire history of the multiverse. And he just wants to go back to being the Collector again. This wasn't as much fun as I thought it would be, everybody. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Honestly, everything you're saying and some of the interviews that were done, it really paints Brainiac as the outside reader, as us reading it, where it's just I got into it and it was kind of cool and I just wanted to get, back into some of the past stuff and see what happened there. And then I was like, oh man, well, I need to know all this stuff, all this continuity and figure it all out. And then that was a horrible idea because not all of it's good and some of it sucks. And now look at me, I'm this horrible waste of a human being.
They called him the Collector for a reason. So Earth 2 Dick Grayson tries to give Galactiac the business, but Telos says no, Dick Grayson, show him your compassion like you showed me. Let's work together, hold hands everybody, this is a trust exercise. Maybe we will hang out at some henges and we will figure everything out.
Aww.
So Galactiac, with the power of love, severs Telos' ties to the planet, takes the temporal powers for himself, and resets all of the cities that he had on the planet.
Oh,
very nice.
Super cool.
But something is blocked.
Most importantly, though, old Western guys were there. I was like, hey, thanks for pointing out that they're back.
They're the ones who got most egregiously destroyed. It's like, hey, everybody, we're okay.
Justice Riders away.
But something is blocking him from sending everyone home. It's the first crisis. Its complete continuity wipe is messing with his powers. So Supergirl and Flash need to go complete the crisis. And they're like, all right, we know we have to die. We've already figured it out thanks to all these little mini-series. We're going to be heroes. We're going to go do what we got to do. But pre-Flashpoint Superman and Parallax want to go and help. And Lois and Baby John are going to come too, because Lois says Superman always saves the day, especially this version of Superman. So if we go along, we know we're going to be safe because Superman's going to save everything.
Was that pre-Flashpoint or pre-Crisis?
Pre-Flashpoint.
Okay, gotcha.
They travel back to rewrite Crisis on Infinite Earths so that Supergirl and Flash don't have to die. And as like the split second they leave, everyone knows that they succeeded because the multiverse gets reset and survives, and we see the past and present of a bunch of different worlds from the Multiversity Guidebook. Everything survives, everything happened, everything still exists in one way, shape, or time, except Earth 2. Your world exploded. It's dead. Sorry, guys. I can't do everything here.
I know I just reset the multiverse, but, giving you guys a planet or just rewinding time a little bit more, like even a month or two ago, that's just really too hard.
That's really hard. I have to reach all the way over there.
You don't understand how annoying that is.
Mm-hmm. But wait, now the planet of Telos is free to be used. So it gets teleported to where Earth 2 was, and they're able to bring the planet back to life.
Well, not the exact location. It's in their dimension,
their
vibrational multiverse. Not where it was, because there's still Apocalypse sitting there.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Good Lord. I didn't read that book. So Telos appears as a giant head above them. Dick Grayson, thank you for teaching me how to love again. You might even say you helped me get my groove back, if I can make an anachronistic reference for old time's sake.
Oh.
I remember who I am now and where my family is. I'm not going to tell you, because if there's one thing that I'll always be, it's a little cheeky. And then he kind of purses his lips into a little kissy face and puts his index finger over it. That's so Telos,
It really is Telos.
Yeah, so, you know where your families are now, don't you? They're in the arcs from the World's End series Brian barely paid attention to. You still get another chance to be Father of the Year, Dick Grayson. Repopulate your world, we're giving you one last chance in yet another series, you Earth 2 rascals. Tell us away!
Oh no! We lost him for good this time, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that was something.
Yeah, that was something, all right. So end of the day, what is the easy peasy way? Because obviously everyone gets what you said as far as, things got reset, things happened, big things happened. But at the end of the day, what is the final outcome of this whole thing?
Everything is back. All the toys are back in the toy box. If you want to have, New 52 is going to be the main focal point going forward, as is obvious based on all the previews we've been getting. But say if you want to have Underpants Superman come in and have a team up with modern day Superman, you can do that now. You just reach into the bleed or get on, whatever the multiversity guys are riding around on, with the name of the spaceship that I can't remember right now.
The Thula something or other.
Yeah, the Ultima Thule or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that. And it's kind of fun. It opens things up a little bit more. You don't have to be all grumpy about your favorites being gone.
Well, the big question that we're getting, How did this happen just by sending Parallax back in time with pre-Flashpoint Superman?
That's the thing. I almost wonder if that would be an interesting story, because
I almost wonder if they're going to do a mini or a couple issues dealing with characters that weren't there for the crisis that are there now and rewrote it.
I wonder. It's not like there's an anniversary coming up or anything.
I wonder.
But that's kind of interesting. That is sort of what happened at the end of the original Crisis, wasn't it? Like a few of the old characters decided to go, like Golden Age Superman and the Golden Age Lois, like they all went off. And Superboy Prime, and they went off to go and be in that weird crystal thing.
Yep, and Alexander Luthor, they got to live outside of their multiverse, or outside of the multiverse, so they could be the people that stayed outside of it and weren't changed by the reset. That's kind of the big... See, I have my little spiel here that kind of explains what happens. I can go for a little bit if you want.
Yeah, if you want, yeah.
Okay, I don't want to steal your book from you. I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, I've gone through all my notes, and I just and I'm at the point where I can just sort of take, this is a big continuity,
Well, I'm going to say two things
series,
about it.
So yeah.
And the first one is really, really long, and it should explain what happened, and the second one is completely going to contradict all that long stuff that I just said.
Okay, go right ahead.
So the first one, what is the Crisis on Infinite Earths? What happened at that point? All of the Earths. Not just the ones within that multiverse, because remember, all a multiverse is the orrery of, say, in our case, 52 worlds, 52 of the Earths. In the Crisis on Infinite Earths, before that crisis, there were infinite Earths. We're not talking 52, we're not talking 112, we're talking infinite. Infinite Earths, infinite orreries, infinite multiverses. They were all out there, they're all doing their little thing. After Crisis, what we had afterwards was it was all collapsed down into one Earth. There wasn't even an Earth 2, Earth 3, Earth X, anything like that. So we know it was more than just a local orrery reset at that point, because it got rid of everything. It wasn't just the Earth 2s, Earth 3s, Earth 4s, blah, blah, blah. Now, think about it that way, moving from that point forward, because all we have is that one Earth, that one orrery. Anytime there's a reboot, anytime there's a reset, it's like a cassette tape or a VHS. You're overwriting what you had on it so that you can do something different. There's breakpoints, sure, where you'll have like a half hour of Sanford and Son, and then all of a sudden it'll cut over to All in the Family, and you're like, well, okay, I'll watch All in the Family too, but I thought we were in Sanford and Son universe here, but whatever. Yeah. We'll go over here and do this. That's kind of what was going on through all these breakpoints as far as the 0 hour time shenanigans, and then Infinite Crisis, when it came along, it repopulated the local multiverse of that Earth. Didn't populate all of the multiverse. There wasn't infinite Earths, because even after Infinite Crisis, there was only 50-odd Earths then, too. There was only an X number of Earths out there. It reestablished Earth 2, Earth X, Earth whatever.
Yeah.
It brought all those back into play. So one orrery was back out of the infinite ones that were out there, and we continued on from there, resetting Flashpoint, overwrote it. New 52 overwrote it, blah, blah, blah. With this, going back in time and redoing it so that there was never a collapse of the multiverse, instead of having this one VHS tape that we're just keep overwriting parts of it or just breaking off different parts of it. We invented multiple VHS tapes for it all to happen. So it's kind of like if you think of an orrery or a multiverse as a box. Each one of these, the only commonality between all of those Earths is the setting, the time period in which they're taking place. So you have Multiverse 1, which is the pre-crisis stuff. And then crisis happens, all the things occur, and right next to it in another box is an orrery with just Earth in it. It's separated, it's cut off from its multiverse, but that first Multiverse 1 never went away. We still have Multiverse 2 with just that one Earth in it, and then 0 Hour happens and we just set up another box with it next to it there, blah blah, going down the line until everyone has their own box. So pretty much each one of these multiverses, I guess we've reestablished infinite multiverses as well.
I mean, they did kind of touch on that in Multiversity.
They did, that there was more than one multiverse out there.
And like you said, that bomb drop of the local multiverse.
Yes, and that's how I'm kind of thinking these things are playing off one another a little bit. Yeah. At least as far as an explanation. So really what we had throughout the history of DC Comics, instead of these overwritings, these complete wipeout of everything that happened before it and then resets, all we've been doing is following a camera shift as it moved from box 1 to box 2 to box 3 to box 4. Box 1 through 3 are still doing their thing. They're still living their lives, picking up exactly from where we left them off. But we've just been following with the camera as it moved to each one of these multiversal boxes through the years. And now we can go back to any one of those boxes and do whatever we want with them and mix and match and throw them around and amalgam and converge and do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, like how one of the things I like how we even saw how the cartoon Earth, like you saw like that, they even like visually represented, in the past they all looked like the Scott Shaw classic things. And then like in the forward, it's like, now we got the cool new Captain Carrot that Ivan Rice designed that everyone loves. They're all like that now there. They've evolved as well with everything else.
Yep. So I mean, there's plenty of different ways. Again, I'm just a reader like everyone else. I have no inside information. Just from breaking it down between Multiversity and this and other things, the interviews given, it would seem almost kind of like that's the way they're doing it, where it's instead of overwriting, now we're just shifting the camera to the next multiverse that has those changes that took effect and going down the line from there. Now,
I've been reading for so long that all this stuff is just old hat to me, so I just roll with the punches.
Well, that's just it. The second thing I'm going to say is basically at the end of the day, the end result of this whole thing is that if we want to tell a story and it's not happening in continuity, who gives a shit? If it's a good story, we're going to write it, we're going to do it, and you're going to either like it or not like it. And if it's not going to possibly impact everything else in the quote-unquote main continuity that we're following with the camera right now, it could be an old one, it could be a new one, it could be whatever we want to make up. So don't dwell on that so much. Just go along for the ride and enjoy it.
Everybody calm down.
So those are the end results that I got out of it. I may be wrong. Don't take me as holy gospel. It just seemed like an easy explanation for everything that has happened in this book and previous. It fits for everything is basically all it is.
Yeah. So, and thanks to Jackson Howard and Bryant Lucas, who assumed we were going to need help with this, and sent along some helpful links that I never would have bothered to look up. So
Nope. So appreciate it, guys.
Yep.
So let's go into tie-in time.
All right, it's still me.
Yep, it's don't you remember 4th week? It was the Brian Show.
Yep. So convergence.
Like you have rough ones here.
I've got fun ones.
Exactly.
I got a fun one, then a rough one. All right, Convergence Blue Beetle #2. Scott Lobdell and Yishan Lee. I hope I'm saying that right. So it's the Blue Beetle, the Question, and Awful Outfit Captain Atom in the Hub City universe against the Legion of Superheroes. The Middle Era Legion of Superheroes. The Abnett and Lanning, Mall Hair Saturn Girl, Mullet Brainiac 5. Yeah. But they show up, try to talk to the Hub City heroes into surrendering since they outnumber them like 1,000,000 to 1. But Blue Beetle, he leaders up and tries to figure out a way to win. So he electrifies his terrible-looking beetle ship, teleports away, and uses his computers to interpret future language and uses their flight rings to figure out who they all are and what their powers are.
Yeah, he hacks their flight rings to pull out of their databases.
Using like 1950s, 1960s technology. I love that.
Click, clack, spin, spin, spin.
Yeah, he's got like a girl Friday who's like kind of helping him with all his computer stuff. She's just shaking her head the entire time. Also, very important, he adopts a stray dog and he names it the Blue Beagle.
Oi.
I love it.
Oi.
So while while him and his sidekick stay in the Beetle ship to hold down the fort, Adam and Question go out to fight the Legion with their newfound knowledge. And it works for a bit, since Adam is like crazy overpowered. He even outwits Invisible Kid.
Oh.
How do you outwit Invisible Kid?
Thermal goggles, as we saw in one of the other books.
Yes. Yeah.
Not only is Invisible Kid getting beat up elsewhere, he left the Atomic Knights and came over here with these guys and got punched in the face again.
Yeah. In one of my favorite moments, the Question shorts out Brainiac 5 by asking him an impossible question. Yeah. When is the ending reflective of a time yet to be? What does that mean? What is love, Brainiac 5? No!
Would you like to play a game?
Saturn Girl, Computo, and the snake with the robot arms who didn't get a nameplate.
I do have to ask, there's a snake that in the future that they just went, you need arms, Mr. Snake Race, and built robot arms.
I think it's a girl.
Okay, regardless.
Yeah.
Who in the future said, well, your genetic makeup and your evolution as a species entirely was all wrong. Here, have some robot arms.
Yes, you gotta wear your flight ring on something. Not just my tail. No. These three characters find Blue Beetle, and when the earthquake comes, he has them make it look like Hub City was destroyed. So Hub City surrenders, but the city is actually fine. So Telos just thinks there's a winner and a loser, but they're all fine. So okay, so the giant head of Telos smiles over the city as everyone argues about whether or not Blue Beetle is lame or not.
That goddamn panel of Telos just like
they've answered
in the sky,
they've answered my riddle. Put my finger over my kissy face lips.
It was just so weird. It just didn't.
But yet at the same time, it was very fulfilling.
Yes,
everything worked really well. Like the interplay between the three characters and the Legion as this gigantic mass of superheroes was handled very well. Mm-hmm. It was very fun.
It was.
Like Lobdell kind of knocked this one out of the park by the end. I think you read them both together, it'll come out really good.
I actually didn't know he was writing this one.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention it last month.
Yep. Actually, it turned out really good.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed with it by the end of it. So
not one I was looking at. So
no,
and really good. Like there was a really different style. Not something I was expecting.
It was brighter. It was definitely brighter. It's maybe I'm so used to the modern era and a lot of the Bat books since I pick up most of those where I'm like the sun is out. Hiss. What is this?
But yeah, I'd like to see Yi on something else.
Fair enough.
Hopefully this was a good tryout.
Fair enough. You do have another one, though. You think you could finish up that quickly?
You think I can drink that water, but I can't. All right. Convergence Booster Gold number 2, which I literally have labeled as, oh, God.
Oh, God. Oh, man, that's not good.
No, it's just so much to explain. Because remember how hard it was to do the first half last time?
You just had like 5 Booster Golds and his dad's son, brother.
Rip Dadson. So, old continuity Booster Gold that somehow works for Argus has met up with Reign of the Supermen era Blue Beetle, and he's going to try to help that booster deal with the whole time travel is killing him thing that he's got going on.
Fair enough.
Too much chronal energy from not wearing proper protection while time traveling.
That's what you get for cutting corners, Booster Gold.
Yep. Meanwhile, New 52 Booster is with old continuity Rip Hunter, now played by Rory from Doctor Who, and Gold Star, Booster Gold's sister, also from the old continuity.
So it's not that Booster Gold sister, it's the one that's flying around with chronal energy issues. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
They are fighting Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes.
Man, these guys are all over the place.
Yeah, but the older original ones. I like the fact that New 52 Booster doesn't know where his Legion flight ring came from.
Yeah.
So he's just like, you stole our Legion flight rings. He's like, oh, that's what the L stands for. Like, oh, that's the most Booster thing ever. Thanks, guys. Thanks. And he also assumes that Superboy is just some kid cosplaying Superman.
Yes, until he actually starts throwing stuff around.
Mm-hmm. He really is Superman when he was a boy? I'm just like, oh, come on, guys, that's great. So they jump forward in time so they don't have to fight the Legion, and the Legion's just like, Oh.
I guess they left.
Yeah, I guess we won, maybe? Just 45 minutes later, it's like, they abandoned us already. Awesome.
Did Telos just appear in the sky and smirk at them and wink? And they were like,
Maybe.
yeah, victory for us.
That's Telos. So, Blue Beetle tries to help old Booster Gold, but he's dying from the coronal radiation and he can't be helped. So they just sit around and have some laughs, like the time they bought every Choco in the city, so Martian Manhunter had to go cold turkey.
Which is so
That's
dark.
dark,
Now that
I
we
know.
about it.
It's like they're just tied into a chair with duct tape. It's like, all right, just sweat it out, dude.
It's like Train Spotting, but with Chocos, where he's just laying there and
Yeah.
some baby with chocolate all over its face is on the ceiling crawling towards him with its head spinning around.
Yep. The other crew comes in to save old Booster, and we get some confirmation that the new 52 Ted Cord is just some young inventor dude.
Okay.
They mention it, they shout it out, so
Yep.
nice to get maybe a little clarification on that since he showed up in one issue and hasn't shown up again.
Nope, he just poked his head in, talked to Lex Luthor, and went, see you later.
Kind of like New 52 Plastic Man, who it's been, like 8 months since he got his origin that
Second
didn't actually
origin.
finish. Yeah. Oh,
Because
really?
he had already shown up in Justice League International once
Okay.
beforehand.
Sure. That book doesn't count.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
They go to save him from Blue Beetle, but Blue Beetle's cool. They're fine. Everything's cool. So old Booster is now dead, but that just happens when you're old from coronal radiation.
Sure. I don't know.
So
I don't deal
so-
with this. Do I
so-
look like a scientist to you?
Yeah. So they take him to Vanishing Point and just one last time, put me in a time vault. I mean, there's coronal energy on both sides. What am I going to do? Paddle to Amazon's attack? Come on, compadre. Come on. So they let old / kind of dead Booster Gold sit in the time vault to save him, and Booster transforms into Wave Rider, the mysterious time-traveling DC character that I guess never had an origin, really. He was just always sort of there, so they've given him an origin.
It's another Booster Gold from a different timeline that overloaded on coronal energy.
It's the original Booster Gold, yeah. So everyone is the same character. Booster is Rip Hunter's dad, even though he's younger than him. Booster is actually Wave Rider. Kid is Play is Kid, and everything's all mixed up. Just crazy. So Wave Rider puts everyone back where they're supposed to be, and then he goes to show up to Convergence.
Woo!
Although, maybe, because apparently the costume's different, and Jeff King just sort of winked in that interview, so... I don't know.
Was he old Wave Rider, and then he got put back when Telos put everyone back in their places? Who knows? I guess we'll find out in the future.
Yeah.
Or won't, and we'll forget about it.
Yeah.
One of the two. What'd you think, though? I mean, it was Booster Gold was one of the big books that everyone was waiting for in Convergence. I mean, it was like he's getting his own title. He's getting
if you have been following Booster Gold from the old continuity, this was great for you. If you are a newer reader who just likes the concept of Booster Gold because of his appearances on TV shows and stuff, or his minor New 52 output, you're probably a little confused.
Yeah, a little bit.
Maybe running for the Wikipedia, maybe just giving up, Like, this was a book that was literally tailor-made for me, and even I'm just sort of like, ooh, this is a lot of work.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad it was at least fulfilling. I mean, you had to
Or
put
if
some
you-
legwork into it, but
Yeah.
at least there was
I don't know if
that-
it's traded, but if you want to go track down the old Jurgens Johns Booster Gold series from post 52,
Gotcha.
that would be a good primer for this.
Fair enough.
That'd give you, I think, really technically all you need, but there's a lot of extra just continuity stuff in here as well. So
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to simplify things down a little bit because I have Convergence Action Comics number 2.
yeah,
Pre-Crisis Earth 2 Superman, Pre-Crisis Earth 2 Power Girl, Red Sun Superman, Stalin. I mean, that's
We got
basically
Stalin.
what it is. It's Power Girl and Pre-Crisis Superman taking the fight to Soviet Russia, and basically what we focus on in this particular issue is Power Girl and Red Sun Wonder Woman having a bar brawl across and through the skyline of Moscow, just kind of punching each other through the Kremlin and picking up one of those big domy bulbous orthodox looking things and clonking each other over the head with it, and it's just tearing the city apart while these two fight one another. It's actually pretty mean. They're really rough with one another. But meanwhile, underground, Stalin's had enough of the hijinks of Lex Luthor underneath his dome city, and they put tape down the middle of the city on split half and half, but nope, they're not playing right. So, apparently Lex and Lois, his wife Lois Lane in this Red Sun universe, have locked themselves in the underground bunker underneath the Kremlin, and Stalin shows up with a bunch of guards and breaks his way in and goes, "Aha, I've got you now, Lex Luthor. You've insulted me one too many times." So what happens when one megalomaniacal crazy person pushes another crazy person too far, Brian? What do you get when that happens?
It's crazy.
You get GI robots. You get a horde of GI robots that
Really?
Lex Luthor created in the basement underneath the Kremlin, and he sicks them on Stalin and all his men, and they end up taking Stalin prisoner. And while they're down there, they're trying to figure out, well, what are we going to do? These super people are tearing apart Moscow up above us. Even if we do win, it's just going to be rubble that we're going to be sitting on top of. It's kind of sucky. And Lex goes, well, if we win the fight, if we destroy their city, then they'll just be destroyed themselves, and we can at least stop this battle. And Stalin goes, wait, you like using illegal weapons to kill millions of people? I like to use illegal weapons to kill millions of people. Maybe we're not so different, Lex Luthor. Maybe you and I can put our differences aside and be friends. And the two of them go skipping off to the little bomb nuke launcher center. And as they're in there, they're trying to punch in all the codes to do so. Lois Lane is like, are you guys really going to nuke another city on this planet? They're like, yeah, isn't that awesome? Is it going to be cool? She's like, no, that's not cool at all. We should really not do this. Our survival is not worth the death of that many innocent people. And Stalin's just like, pshaw, innocent people not dying. Come on. This is like Tuesday. That's what I do. I'm Stalin. I'm Stalin here. And, outside, Wonder Woman and Power Girl are broken up in their fight. Poor pre-crisis Superman has to get in the middle of this bar brawl. And it is kind of like where you see the two girls in the bar just beating each other up, and some poor guy has to get in the middle, and they're just like clawing at his face, and he's just like, come on. You two just stop. Be civil.
I think I make better life choices than to be in that situation. But
well, he finally gets them apart and goes, guys, come on. Some crazy ghost winky face up in the sky told us to go fight each other, and we jump on it. Come on. Let's go find Lex Luthor and Stalin and figure out what's going on here and just figure out what we can do to go jointly attack it. And they go busting into the bunker down below just in time to see Lex Luthor about to launch the missiles, and they go, no. And they get out their little spritz bottle and shoot him in the face and rub off his dome head. Sparkles and shines now. But they end up going, okay, well, we have stopped it. There's a ceasefire sign between Red Sun Wonder Woman and the pre-crisis Superman and Power Girl. You don't attack us, we won't attack you, and we'll send troops off to go try to fight the big fight against Telos. And they go back, give their loved ones a hug, and they go flying off into Convergence issue 6. Little bit of a oops there, but yeah, go back to issue 6 where they got into the giant war with all the other multiversal characters over there.
They'll fix it in the trade.
It was fun. It was a cute little story. I mean, it was of its time and place with it was all 50s style. The robots are all like janky 50s robots, like must destroy. So it was very fun.
Blorp.
Yeah, very cute and really, really bit into the whole of its time art as far as the style of clothes and the technology and everything like that. So it was very fun for that, just looking at the little things in the background. On the other side of that, I have another one, Detective Comics, that is also dealing with the pre-crisis Earth 2 characters and the Red Sun Superman. In this case, it's pre-crisis Earth 2 Dick Grayson and Huntress taking on Red Sun Superman himself. And Superman, this Soviet Russia Socialist Superman is probably the most civil and normal and patient person in this entire book, because Dick Grayson and Huntress are just brutally murderous all the time. He shows up and he's like, hey guys, looks like you're the heroes of your world. What say we sit down and have a conversation about this and figure out what we're going to do? And Huntress is just going, la, 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 charging at him with knives and trying to run him over with cars and explosives, and the entire time he's just like holding his hand out over her forehead to just keep her away while she's swinging all over the place. Like, guys, come on, I'm Superman. You're not going to win this fight regardless, even if I let you go. So let's just sit down and have a conversation. They go, no, we must fight. We're going to have to beat you up. We can't let our city, just fall to waste like that. So they are pulled out of this unwinnable fight by Fuzzy Hat Red Sun Batman. He's wearing like the little tilted up fuzzy warm hat with the ear flaps.
Oh, ear flaps. I'm not talking the big Russian like tower hat. No, the fuzzy hat.
It's like a squat hat just folded up, so it's just got the fuzzy with the
just
ear
like the toque.
Yes, and he's just like, "Hey guys, I'm here to rescue you." And he pulls him off to safety. That's Russian, right?
Das vidanya.
And he kind of pulls him off into this little lead-lined hovel and goes, "I am freedom fighter, yes? I cannot stand alien totalitarian ruler. I must stop him. I am his counterbalance, symbol to all people." And they go, "Okay, well, that's kind of cool. I mean, we knew a Batman too. He was kind of like that. Didn't really have the same fashion sense as you, but I understand it's a little colder here in Moscow, so I'll let it slide." You would think Gotham City just as cold, though. Just as cold. A lot of snow there. A lot of snow. So Fuzzy Hat Batman goes, "Okay, well here, you will use this box. It will help you in battle against alien totalitarian Superman." And then he goes, "Batman away!" and just kind of runs off. "I'll distract the rest of the troops while you deal with them." And as soon as they step outside, Red Sun Superman lands in front of them and is like, "Guys, why are you doing all this? I just want to have a conversation with you. We can literally just sit down right here and talk to one another." And Huntress goes, charges at him again with another knife. And it's like, lady, what is wrong with you? And because he grabs her and it looks like he's going to hurt her, Dick Grayson pulls the lid off the box. And of course, it's kryptonite. And Red Sun Superman falls on his knees and he's about to die because of the kryptonite. And Dick Grayson just can't do it. So he throws away the kryptonite and goes, "Look, I have a weird proposition. What say we just have a conversation and stop this whole fight thing?" And Superman's just like, "Guys, I've been saying that for 2 issues now, but you guys kept trying to murder me. So yeah, we can have a conversation. We'll work together and maybe go take on Telos together." And then at that moment, a thundering voice comes from the heavens. "You have defied the rules. You cannot work together." Apparently, this is the city he was looking at the entire time because everyone else was getting away with it. And now you guys must pay the price while I send you home. And in like a week or two, I'm going to destroy your cities. I'm giving you fair warning. Say goodbye to your loved ones because it's coming.
Your loved ones send letters out to other cities, which they won't get to them, but at least it'll give you some closure.
It was just so weird. He's just like, yeah, now you're at home and comfortable and not having to fight for your survival. Showed you guys, yeah. So they get teleported home.
Take that one last trip to Big Belly Burger.
Where Huntress literally says as soon as they land back in Gotham City, or in Metropolis, that is, the pre-Crisis Earth 2 Metropolis, she goes, "Man, I was acting crazy out of character back there, wasn't I? I don't know what came over me."
Actually, I have to give all the time. If you want to get one last meal at Big Belly Burger in Soviet Russia, it's going to be a very long line.
No, it was just so self-aware where it was just like, yeah, I had to have them fight somehow, and that's totally out of character for these people, so I'm just going to acknowledge it. It's Len Wein doing the writing again, and just like in Swamp Thing, where it was so tongue-in-cheek and aware, where it's like, there's not even a sun here. This is so weird. How is this happening? I need it for the story, but it doesn't make any sense, so just roll with me here. And that's kind of what we get here as well. And as they suit up to head out to join the big battle, Dick Grayson finally dons the actual Batsuit because he saw the power of a symbol that a fuzzy hat can bring. And now he's willing to take on that mantle himself to be the symbol of not Fuzzy Hat Batman. Because it's not that cold there. It's temperate. So he's going to do it. Again, it was a very weird, the only time Telos finally goes, hey, you guys aren't supposed to work together. I explicitly said that. I don't care what the other cities are doing. I told you guys not to work together. So, whatever. It was fun. It was a cute little story. It was not what I would expect from those characters, and apparently from the way it ended, not really how those characters usually would react to this situation. So, completely outside of the box, but fun nonetheless. So Brian, that's it for the first half. What do you have coming up for round 2?
I've got Crime Syndicate, Shazam, and Infinity Incorporated.
And I have Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters bringing the power of hot dogs to the fight. JSA, Old Guy Love. It's right here. No, not that kind of, no. And last but not least, the darkest timeline of the 7 Soldiers of Victory in World's Finest. So hold on a couple seconds. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will go through those books.
Have returned for the very last time.
Telos, my buddy.
Jonathan,
How's
hello.
it going? We had some rough times.
We had some rough times. I may have had you have a convergence battle.
You did try to kill me.
I think you all learned your lesson.
Which lesson is that?
A very important one.
Okay, and that is that you arbitrarily make up rules as we go, or...
I'm smiling.
I know you're smiling.
I'm waiting for you to finish your sentence.
No, it's just I don't understand what the thing is that we're supposed to have learned here. What is the lesson that we are supposed to have learned?
What didn't you learn, Sean?
I
didn't
learn a lot of things.
Blue Beetle figured it out.
Wait, what did he figure out? The dog?
I'll never tell.
You're the worst, Telos.
I have my characteristic changes of heart. I teach lessons. I'm just Telos. I always keep it on Flark.
You mean on fleek?
No, I mean on Flark.
I'm pretty sure that's not the right turn of phrase. But...
In 45 years, will it be incorrect?
Well, of course I don't know the answer to that. I mean, come on.
I can make anachronistic references to the future as well. That's part of my power, Sean.
Okay. I think you've overstayed your welcome, Telos.
I believe I have. Telos away!
I would say I'm going to miss him, but I didn't even know his name. I mean, what's going to happen next time I see that guy? What do I do? Do I yell, "Hey, guy that used to be called Telos, but that's not actually his name"? What do I say? How do I get his attention?
Sean, are you just talking to no one right now?
No, Telos was here, and I'm trying to figure out how I would call his attention.
I miss Telos again?
Yeah, sorry.
I never got to meet him.
Well, his name's not Telos, so I don't know who he is.
He made my...
Man of mystery.
He made my literary hero give me a concussion.
Well, that was nice of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'll get to thank him.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
going
to look off in the distance pensively.
So let's jump into tie-ins. You have a couple of books here.
Oh, I think I've got the first one.
You do?
I've got Convergence, Crime Syndicate number 2. Owl
heads.
Yep. So Justice League 1 million of the 853rd century is fighting the old school Earth 3 Crime Syndicate, including Owlhead Owlman, our favorite character of Convergence. Then they're in future Metropolis. Long and short story here. The Crime Syndicate are lovable / hateable jerks. Batman tries to talk it out with Owlman, and he just calls him gay. Johnny Quick, when he does something awful, he sings his name. He just goes, Johnny Quick. It's like, oh, Johnny Quick, I can't stay mad at you.
Like a 50s crooner coming in every time.
Yeah, so both Ultraman and Superman are slowly running out of power because there's no sun. This is obviously a place where that rule is in effect.
Even Swamp Thing didn't understand it, so it's fine.
And it comes down to Owlman versus Wonder Woman, and he gives up because his true love, Superwoman, got executed last issue. So as soon as he gets knocked out, a Superwoman shows up.
I don't think he gets knocked out. I think he gets straight up neck broken and killed there.
Well, it's a very strong punch.
Yes.
We don't see it go all the way around. Like in Train Spotting. As soon as he gets knocked out, Superwoman shows up. The dome dropped just as she got fried, so she regained her immortality and was teleported with them. And then she kind of avoided them all for a good, couple hours. And then she showed up at, just the most inopportune time. Then there is a final battle between the somewhat identical Wonder Woman 1 million and Superwoman. And then there's an earthquake! And then everyone gets buried! And someone comes out of the ground, but thanks to coloring and shading choices, we can't tell if it's Superwoman or Wonder Woman.
I'm fairly certain it was Superwoman. I'm fairly certain.
It's possible, but...
I know it's as good a guess as any, but that's my leaning. It looked like it was Superwoman that made it out. What did you think? You liked the 1 million
like the last
characters.
3 pages were literally just earthquake and cascading rubble and whatnot.
Rubble everywhere.
Yep.
We love the rubble.
Mm-hmm.
But you are a fan of the 1 million characters.
Yeah.
You do like them. did you get at least a little fix for them?
Here's the thing.
Oh, hey.
I like the story that featured them. I don't really know much about them.
Okay.
They only got so much characterization in that mini. It was more about our characters experiencing the future and seeing that their legacy lives on and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
So there was only so much. I didn't read every single tie-in, even though they were supposed to all be pretty good. I did not have the means at that time to do so.
No, that's a fair statement. I was just curious because I know you had mentioned them prior that you actually enjoyed that run. So it didn't seem like there was much to them in this particular.
Yeah, it was more Crime Syndicate stuff.
Well, I mean, it was titled Crime Syndicate, but I was hoping we would get a little more play with them.
Aside from, them saying, it's like, oh yeah, Wonder Woman's bracelets, talk to her in the future.
Yeah.
We can focus
cool,
on that for a couple of pages. Yeah,
pretty cool. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So next up, I have Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters. Just a weird tone of title. Because we're dealing with Earth X, where the Nazis, of course, won the war. The Sliders rule. Sliders rule, where you have to have at least one dimensional world that the Nazis won the war. And in this case, it has been Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters fighting against the Nazis, trying to drive them out. But as they were fighting, they were trying to take down the superhero, the Ubermensch of the Nazi party, this guy by the name of Silver Fox. And when he showed up and they were about to have their big battle, they had just escaped when the domes came up. A bunch of spider robots showed up from Future's End. Bunch of these robot death machines rolled in, and it's Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters standing on a ledge just watching hordes and hordes of Nazis get torn limb from limb by these super-powered spider robots from the future. And they're kind of torn. What do we do here? I mean, these spider robots don't look like nice people, but they are killing a lot of Nazis.
Were they just like up on a hill, like with their arms akimbo, like, huh?
Yeah,
well.
Heads cocked to the side a little bit, like, oh man, what do we do here? But finally, it comes to be that they go, well, we're gonna have to work with them. If nothing, there's a lot of them, and they'll make good cannon fodder while we fight off these spider robots. So they end up teaming up with Silver Fox, who leads them inside the camp and says, hey guys, we've captured one of them. It looks like they are the perfect soldier, but they have no drive of their own. They're controlled by some central processing unit somewhere in their city. I bet you if we go take that out, we'll be able to actually take out the entire invading army. And they go, that sounds like a good plan. Okay, everyone run diversion, draw out all the spider robots, and then Silver Fox and Plastic Man will sneak in behind enemy lines and actually destroy it. And we kind of focus on Plastic Man and Silver Fox as they're sneaking in. And of course, the Nazi soldier, the general, does not believe that killing these spider robots is the best plan. Maybe taking control of them and bringing them under the Nazi Empire might be the better plan. These damn Nazis can never just let a super weapon go.
No.
They can never just let it pass. They just gotta always take it in, take it in, take it in. And Plastic Man finds this out and kind of betrays him instead. Kind of takes the little control unit and throws it off to the side just as all the bombs are about to go off, and Silver Fox goes chasing after it like it's a holy grail or something like that. And Plastic Man's able to escape. It's all set against a backdrop where he's trying to figure out whether he is still the lowly crook that he was in his past, or if he's now the actual hero that he thinks he is. He's like, well, I could be a little slimy and trick Nazis into doing bad things and killing themselves, so I'll be a little bit of both. Moving forward. Again, it wasn't as zany as the first issue where they were shoving foot-long hot dogs up Nazi bums and doing their things, and that's how you
Hebrew
lead a
nationals. It's double tough.
This one had a little bit more of a tight storyline to it, and it did wrap up. It was a fine little story featuring these characters. Freedom Fighters, not much play. Not much play at all, not gonna lie. It was basically the Plastic Man show and him doing things and dealing with the Nazis and the spider robots, and everyone else just kind of tagged along with him. So
he is the more popular character. So
yep. So if you're looking for a Plastic Man book, these were two little not slapsticky at all, but
sorry, Red Bee aficionados, he's nowhere to be found.
Not in this one. So next up we got
Convergence Shazam #2.
Oh, well, you have nothing but negative things to say about this, right?
I have one thing, but that has nothing to do with the story because Jeff Parker and Doc Shaner are amazing. So we are in the Fawcett City of Earth S, and after an issue of setting up Captain Marvel and all of his allies in Rogue's Gallery, we get an issue for our Convergence fight, and the Gotham by Gaslight universe is attacking with Zeppelins.
Oh.
So the Bullets and Sidekick Marvels stick back to deal with the dirigibles, while Captain Marvel flies off to see what's up with the Gaslight Gotham. And
It's so foggy. Why is it so foggy over here?
And he deals with that.
Why do you guys have so many clocks? What's up with the clocks?
This is brass gears just glued onto things. This doesn't.
They don't even turn.
There's no function whatsoever.
This is so inefficient. And I'm a kid. Even I know this is inefficient.
Yeah, so the wisdom of Solomon that tells him that. So he deals with that version of Batman and his cool flame-throwing flying machine. Batman flies Cap through a gigantic Tesla coil, and we get a cool scene where like Billy and Cap have a conversation with each other, where they decide who wants to be in charge because they've got more control over themselves than the lightning would have them believe.
Yes, it's not as arbitrary. It's not as lightning hits him. He has to revert back there in control of the actual transformation.
Yeah, so he's able to say, well, I think this is a situation where instead of falling many stories out of the sky, I think Captain Marvel should take over. And Captain Marvel goes, yeah, pretty good call there, kid.
Good call.
Yeah,
Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon.
Yep. So he doesn't turn into street pizza from a very high height. Who would have thought Batman and Captain Marvel decide to work together since the city is falling apart?
And of course, Telos comes in and says you're not allowed to do that, right?
No.
Oh,
no, he
man. Poor guys over in the other book.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, so you're not doing all this like weird metal flying everywhere thing. He's like, no. I just love this ultra succinct synopsis. No, I'm just strong and fast and wise and can fly.
Everything else.
Yeah. So they find a new dome to go under. There's a dome inside of the dome.
Ooh, man.
Double dome all the way. And they confront a bunch of Gaslight Batman villains being commanded by a reforming gigantic Mr. Atom. He had been destroyed on Earth S, Fawcett City, and he decided, you know what, I'll just reform over here and take control of this city and help them win, and I'll just hang out here and you guys can die.
Seems like a fair plan.
Most importantly, there's also a short tussle with Newsboy Killer Croc.
Yes.
I
didn't even know I wanted it.
I know, right? So a gigantic building-sized, steam-powered Mr. Atom that looks so freaking cool goes tromping along the cityscape, and the Marvels and the Bullets and Tonky Tawny in a propeller plane come to join the battle, and it looks freaking sweet.
So weird.
And it turns out that Mr. Atom is actually Mr. Mind. He was mind-controlling everyone all along. He was using it as just a big, gigantic...
The tiny little inchworm guy?
The tiny little inchworm,
not
Mr.
the
Mind.
Giant multiverse consuming moth thing.
No,
right?
the little caterpillar with a tiny radio around his neck, Mr. Mind. He was just using the Mr. Atom as a gigantic Voltron machine or something. And he was mind controlling everyone all along. And because he's just a caterpillar, he self-destructs his giant robot because he's not going to bother trying to fight Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel just goes,
I was going to ask, because I didn't read this one, how exactly do fights against Mr. Mind usually go if he's just a little inchworm? Does Cap actually just
usually he traps him in a jar and puts him in jail. Yeah, I know it's
demeaning.
It's adorable is what it is. He pokes some holes in it. He puts in a few twigs and a couple of puts a couple of pieces of grass to simulate his natural environment, and
a multiverse or two is put in there to eat. And
So Mr. Mind just self-destructs his giant robot, and that means Fawcett City wins, I guess, because Telos rules. And the Marvel family flies off into tomorrow. Please, please, please let this continue, everybody.
I do have to say, I was flipping through. Is that what they do? They just fly away and leave at the end here?
Yeah.
Because it looks like they're leaving Gotham by Gaslight in flames. And they're just like, yep, our duty is done. And they're flying off into the sunset into this like happy ending while behind them an entire civilization is burning to the ground.
A little bit.
Okay. So I am reading this correctly then. Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, if I could just have one little complaint.
One
minor little complaint.
Are you going to get picky?
The sneak peek in the back of this.
Okay.
Shazam has been the most all ages, easy to give to a kid book I've seen DC put out in forever.
Sure.
Like my son loves Shazam. He forced himself to be able to read through the first issue. He doesn't read that many things, cover to cover on his own. And he looks at every single page, all the ads, everything. And at the back of Convergence Shazam #2, we've got Constantine the Hellblazer sneak peek, with demon flesh rippers and topless satanic rituals. I'm like, guys,
For the kids.
for for kids. And it's like, I'm gonna have to exacto that out. Just extra work, It's like, come on, put Batmite back there or something, please.
That would make a little more sense.
A little bit more sense.
But magic.
Yeah, I know. You said, but magic. Yeah. And of course, and mind you, consider the fact that my son is also vaguely unsettled by the iZombie ads, which is just a pretty lady with the least threatening zombie makeup on there.
Yeah,
it's like, that's a little creepy, Daddy.
She's
I'm like,
wearing
all right.
a little too much eyeshadow.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I don't care for that. It looks like raccoon eyes. That's just too much.
I'm sorry, kid. You're gonna have a rough time once you go hit the clubs. Yeah, I guess that's a fair, legitimate.
I think that's a
criticism.
fair gripe.
Yeah,
A fair gripe.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one. So moving on. Justice Society of America, JSA. The old guys of the JSA, the Hawkman, the Green Lantern, Alan Scott Green Lantern, the Jay Garrick Flash, and the Dr. Fate. When they had been put under the dome, all the things that had been keeping them young faded away because they lost access to all of their powers. And over this last year, their age has caught up to them, and they're now old men. And as the dome falls and the Quardian death robot machine, giant Voltron monster comes stomping in, they go, what are we going to do to stop it? I don't know. And Dr. Fate goes, well, I can use my magic to give us one last ride as heroes, but, that's it. We're going to use up everything doing it. Are you guys in? And they go, yeah, we're in. Hell yeah, we're in. And they ended last issue with all four of them youngerized once more in their costumes, charging out to go fight the giant death robot. And in this one, they just beat the living, loving crap out of this giant Quardian death machine. And instead of being all worried and like, oh my goodness, this is a fight for our lives and the lives of our city, they're smiling and they're laughing and they're having fun and they're remembering how much they enjoy being heroes and reminiscing about different things they did in the past with one another and just laughing it up and just going, man, really, this is what our lives were. And it was great. It was grand. It's not even about what we were able to do as the JSA. It's what the JSA gave to us as people and what the focus and drive and the good times of hanging out with each other throughout all these years. Guys, this is great. This is our life. It is so awesome. And I'm just like, man, I really dig this book. And they trounce the machine, and as soon as they do, they revert back to their old age selves once more. They don't die, they don't burn out. Maybe they do a little bit later, but they revert back to their old age, and they go, well, you know what? If anything, this battle has reminded me how important the JSA is, not just as a entity to help the world, but to give that purpose to people like that. So maybe we've been a little too rough on the kids over in Infinity Inc. Maybe we should let them take on the mantle of the JSA, and perhaps we should just go tell them that now. They might be in the middle of a death fight, but we'll just go find them afterwards and let them know that they can be the JSA. Now we'll pass the torch on to them. And really, everything I could have wanted. I don't even really have that link in the past to these characters, but just this little 2-issue arc, I'm just like, man, I really like these guys as the old Vanguard, and it's really cool that way. Mm-hmm. I know that was like one of the biggest criticisms heading into the New 52, that they got rebooted on Earth 2 as younger versions of themselves. Yeah. And even myself, one of my big characters was Wildcat, being the old grizzled guy that was just like, I'll teach you guys how to fight like real men did in World War II. Yeah. So again, it was Dan Abnett, and I know I'm like way late to this party. Mm-hmm. Pretty decent writer.
Oh yeah, he did the Flash series too. So yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I've just recently started getting into his Warhammer 40K novels. Just the setting. I don't play the game. I was just curious about the setting, and they're really, really good. So again, I know I'm late to the party, but hey, he's a bang up guy. I like the cut of his jib. So
23 Skidoo. All right, I'm concluding.
No, I got one more after you.
All right, so I'm
darkest timeline after you.
I'm concluding with Infinity Inc. number 2. So Infinity Inc., the children of the Justice Society, are facing off against Hex and the Dogs of War. Yeah, there's a big fight, and it's kind. All right, DMX, get out of here. And it kind of introduces us to the Dogs of War. They're like the the like various like warriors of time, but in the future.
Okay.
And so it like introduces like, oh, there's a future ninja that can summon an Oni demon to take his place when he's about to die.
Dude, I would read this book, by the way. I would totally read this book. Jonah Hex lost through time with his band of randos from different warrior cultures.
Yeah, and there's a future Viking, and it's just sort of confusing because I don't know who any of these characters are. The alcoholic son of a villain, Brainwave Jr., is comatose for most of the fight, but when he comes to, he is way overpowered and takes control of things. But then Obsidian goes super dark and tries to torture Hex, and then the earthquake happens, and it brings them together, and Brainwave Jr. keeps trying to talk about how he can sense Telos, but he can't, and he also thinks he really understands Telos, if only he would just call back once in a while, but whatever. So they help save...
It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah. But so they help save both cities from the earthquake, and Jonah Hex just kind of walks away giving them the finger while Nucleon flat out says, so, what did we just accomplish here? And Telos just kind of smiles off in the background. What didn't you learn? And the Birdman just kind of shakes his head. And then at the end of the JSA retires and lets Infinity Inc. take their place. And so they're Justice Society Infinity now.
Yeah! You did miss one key thing that really made it all kind of pointless. As they were flying away, the entire Jonah Hex city exploded because of a reactor, like meltdown. And I was like, well, I guess you guys win. Good job.
Yep.
Kudos.
And I also forgot my favorite part of all the warrior cultures of the past, the old trope of the flying manta ray person.
Of course. I mean, they're my favorite culture to study in history.
Yeah.
I mean, really. I go through like Greece, Rome, Manta Empire.
We all remember the 90s craze of the Teenage Mutant Manta fly boys.
Of course. It was huge. It was huge. Just under the Samurai Pizza Cats. Just under there. So yeah, I have one more. I have one final book.
I love their villain that sounded like a spastic Paul Lynde.
Yes. But my last one is Convergence World's Finest, the darkest timeline of the Seven Soldiers, because when we had followed in the last issue, Green Arrow had died, Red Arrow had died trying to save people as the dome came down and all chaos was just consuming the city. Stripesy died of pneumonia while they were underneath the dome because they didn't have access to medicine. Dark. And then Scribbly, the cartoonist that has been kind of palling around with them, has kind of signed himself on to be the squire of Shining Knight because Telos showed up and went, hey guys, like I do, I just wanted to give you forewarning, we're going to have a big battle here any moment now, but really want to see how, especially you do, Shining Knight, you're kind of the old vanguard, I want to see how you do against some of the newer guys, so I'm going to pitch you up against some Quardian Thunderers, they're kind of like antimatter future villain people. They've luck.
Got really big eyes.
Yeah, good luck. I just want to see how this plays out.
The better to see you with.
And he unleashes an entire battalion of Quardian Thunderers on them. And while Shining Knight and Scribbly are trying to face down the leader of this group, it's Vigilante and Crimson Avenger back to back fighting off against this overwhelming horde of Thunderers, ending on this panel with both of them going like, well, we're gonna die, red guy. Yeah, so we are, cowboy. Let's give each other a high five before we die. And they die fighting the Quardians. It's like, this is not a happy book. This is not the Seven Soldiers I was hoping for. Meanwhile, the big battle with Shining Knight against the captain of the Quardian Thunderers is not going well because of they end up getting teleported to a Renaissance fair, so it's more fitting for Shining Knight that happened to be in the city at the moment. And he ends up picking up one of the fake swords and it gets broken. And he's about to get killed by the Quardian guy when Winged Victory, his horse, shows up and like clonks the Quardian guy in the head, and the Quardian Thunderer goes, "That was not nice, Winged Horse," and stabs and kills it.
Aww.
Darkest timeline. Luckily, though, he was able to distract him long enough for Scribbly to pick up a fake mace and clonk him over the noggin, which then knocks him off balance enough for Shining Knight to get the upper hand and hold him at sword point. But, being a knight, he shows mercy and says, "You and your men may leave. I will allow you to live." making Telos show off once more and go, no, no, that is against the rules. Enough.
Chivalry is dead.
You are useless to me. And Shiny Knight's like, dude, I'm a knight. I mean, that's what you do. What did you expect to happen? He's like, yeah, you and your chivalrous code and all that. Well, I'm going to send you guys back to your crisis timeline. Mid-crisis, all that shit's going on once again. And I'm sure that you guys being such high-tier heroes, it's all going to work out fine for you guys. So off you go. And he kind of dumps them off into the middle of this nightmare, all timelines crossing over once more, people dying all over the place, city being leveled, and everyone's dead except for Scribbly and Shining Knight. And it ends with Scribbly basically, Shiny Knight throwing his arm over his shoulder going, well, we're about to die, but hey, why don't you just come have a beer with me because you've elevated yourself to be a hero along with me? And he's like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And they walk off to go have a beer, but he drops his notepad, and there's this little dialogue where it's, even with everyone else dead, Scribbly's able to walk off the stage, a hero alongside Shiny Knight, and as a cartoonist and storyteller, it has on this little piece of paper, one of the little doodles he made, what more could he ask for than to live during this age of Titans and contribute to their legend? And I was like, aw, well, that's kind of a nice little ending for like a little tie, a little bow on top of it from a creator standpoint of, hey, this is actually a great time to be alive for all these reboots, for all the arguments over giant things that these horrible things that the companies are doing and their lack of their tone deafness maybe to the changing world and everything like that. It's still a pretty good time to be a guy that's into this stuff. I mean, or a gal even. It doesn't matter. It's a good time to be a person that likes superheroes because it's kind of a renaissance. It's kind of a renaissance. So enjoy it. Just enjoy
Impact
it.
slightly lessened as Telos is pressing ham against the dome as he's doing it.
Just, stupid knights.
Yes, I do not care for you, 7 soldiers.
I showed those 7 soldiers. Did you see that, Dick Grayson? Did you see what I did to those soldier guys?
Yes.
Telos is such a D-bag.
We love him so.
It surprised me with the ending. It didn't, the optimism of the ending did not fit with the darkest, just everyone dying miserably tone of this 2-part story. So that felt a little weird, but at the same time, it did kind of fit that, hey, even though it's all crappy as all hell, at least we got to go live the dream that we wanted to, and it's been fun. So I think it was a lot better than it sounds probably in the recap. But that's it. That's all of the books. We are done with Convergence. We have converged our last Convergence. No more.
Yeah.
No more. Of course, with Convergence 8, the doors are thrown wide open. So who knows? Maybe we'll deal with them again.
Yeah.
Who knows where Telos is going to show up? I'm hoping he's still on Earth 2 hiding somewhere, like he built a little house off on the prairie somewhere. And Dick Grayson will have to go find him, and they can...
He's got a cabin by a lake, and he's just waiting for Dick Grayson to show up.
Dick Grayson's gonna log into his Xbox Live account and see that Telos is online and be like, hey, what the hell, man? Domi McDomerson, that's Telos, hey! Where are you at? Oh, I'm next door. But yeah, make sure you go out there and buy these books, just as a reminder. We're not saying go out and buy it just because if anything came out of this, it's enjoy what you enjoy. None of it's uber important. You'll be able to pick up stories where you want to at any point in time. You don't feel like you're obligated to read a story just to keep up with it. But if any of this stuff interested you, feel free to pick it up. You have to support it. I will say that probably the sales of some of these minis will probably reflect the order in which maybe some of them might pop up again in the future. I would say that's a safe assumption.
Yeah.
So if there are characters or versions of characters that you want to support, you might want to jump on that to at least vote with your wallet that, hey, if you bring this guy back, more people might want to buy him and read him. And we know you like money.
And if your shop is anything like mine, even if the regular covers are gone, the variant covers are still plentiful.
Yes. I noticed mine was the same way as well.
Yeah,
it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I got the last of the regular Shazams, but there were plenty of zip tone covers still left.
Oh, the kid covers?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Apparently not very many people were digging those ones.
Yeah.
It seems like the variants always sell first.
Yeah,
usually.
I know.
I don't know. Whatever. So, but next week we're back in our universe. We're back in our little orrery, our little multiverse, our little safe spot It's our little safe space so that we know what's going on there now that none of it matters anymore. So next week, we're going to be talking about Action Comics. Barrel-chested t-shirt and Alabama mud-stomping boots Superman heading on out there to punch up some justice. We also get Batmite, who is making his rounds to improve the DCU, it looks like, in his own manner. Batman Beyond #1 kicks off next week as well. Bizarro #1 heading off to Bizarro America, a.k.a. Canada, to see how he can do things there. Green Arrow 41, gotta say, kind of stoked. Stoked for that one. I really want to see how it plays out. Green Lantern 41 also coming out with badass metal biker gang Hal Jordan, not copycatting Guy Gardner, not whatsoever.
A totally different character now.
The beginning of the Darkseid War kicks off in Justice League #41. Lobo #7, gonna go be sexy some more. That's what he does, because he's Sexy Time Lobo. Midnighter #1, the book that I didn't know I wanted, is coming out. Omega Men #1, another one in that pile right there. And then Wonder Woman Annual #1, just kind of a carryover to kick off that storyline from where it left off, because remember, it left off with a cliffhanger, so I'm assuming they're buttoning up some loose ends with the annual so that there's a jump on point when it starts later on this month.
Sounds good.
Would make sense, at least.
Yeah.
It's that really strong first week of sneak peeks that we had. We're getting all their first issues now, so I gotta say this first week is probably the strongest one that I'm really stoked to see how it goes, and hopefully that sets the tone for a lot of the weeks to come. And it should be pretty fun. Pretty fun. What else do we do here at the end of the show? We tell people how to contact us, right?
Yeah, use the internet.
Use the internet. You know how it works. DCR Podcast. You can email us at feedback@dcrpodcast.com. So, with that being said, I have to say it real quick. Whatsoever. Haha. In your face. What do you want to do before we leave? I got mocked for saying whatsoever all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It is one of my crutch words, and I know it, and I've been trying to stop myself from using it. I have a bunch of crutch words, and I try to stop myself, but it's too powerful. I have to use them. What's your little wrap-up thing? What's your weird little thing that you want to throw out there here before we can go?
Oh, just flipping Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, yeah?
Just go see it.
Flamethrower guitars? Yeah, which was a practical effect, and now I need to own that guitar.
Yes.
Yeah, it wasn't CGI.
Yeah.
I must own this guitar. So from all of us here, I guess, then, we hope you enjoyed your converging.
Yes.
Please put your seats and trays to their full upright position as we head back to our regularly scheduled multiverse. And until then, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and we will talk to you then.